evening, this is BelGeode and we are back at FlightSimExpo, and as is now tradition, we're going to do the FlightSimExpo wrap-up. If you saw the one in Vegas last year, you kind of know the format. Basically, we just go around with our esteemed guests here and ask them what they liked about FlightSimExpo, what they didn't like about FlightSimExpo, and what they would like to see for the next year. So this year, I am joined by some very esteemed colleagues. To my left, we've got the one and only Mr. Pete Wright, aka Froogle.
Hey, good to see you. Thank you.
And to my right, we've got Mr. Sérgio from Heli-Simmer, the Heli-Simmer himself. And we've also got Magnus from Threshold. He is here as well, also XEnviro. Yep. And the one and only Mr. Fred Naar, HTR, Helicopter Total Realism. If you're not familiar with the FSX module that was used to improve the helicopters, this is the man behind it. And he's also got some exciting stuff that he's working on for us. And then we've got Jeff, who is a real-life pilot who kind of brings that element into the whole FlightSimExpo. So, to start it off, I don't know if we want to go from left to right or whatnot, but just kind of give me an idea of, your impressions of the sim. And I'm thinking we should probably start from left to right. So Jeff, you are up, sir.
Impressions?
The expo.
Of the expo itself. So it was my first time being to FlightSimExpo, so kind of a fresh viewpoint, I suppose, and one of, again, a number of real-life pilots who also do simulation, love simulation. So what I really thought about it was just it's amazing to see. I didn't expect this many people, I guess, in attendance. I mean, I didn't know what to expect, but not this much. And so that was excellent. And then just the quality of the presentations were great. And so I was impressed by just all the exhibits, the booths. Pretty typical stuff, I guess, in that regard. But again, not knowing what to expect, it's certainly I was impressed.
Now, is there anything about the expo that you thought might be a little bit lacking or might need a little bit of improvement for next year?
Helicopters.
I agree. I think everybody unanimously will go with that.
There's a little more love there in that department. No, I'm going to defer to you guys who have seen it before.
All right. Well, there you go. And Mr. Fred, what would you say was like the highest point of your being here this weekend?
Okay, first of all, it was great. I mean, the group, the company, we actually had a rotorhead lounge dedicated to helicopter simmers, and we had a lot of beers, which I actually left with
I got
because I'm leaving
beers, so they're in my room.
Yeah, and the nice thing is actually you see a lot of passionate people in X-Plane, P3D and such, but also a lot of new people that are trying to look outside the box of those things and trying to develop new things, new simulators and such, which I believe will be the future. I never understand why you have 20 different type of FPS games and just 3 flight simulators at the end. So even for a more casual player, and I'm actually working. There's a very nice article on Heli-Simmer. I'm working on a helicopter simulator which goes in that direction. Okay.
Full sim.
Developed in Unreal Engine. We had a few sessions together. We had a lot of fun trying it. Not easy. I mean, Jeff was an instructor pilot, I'm a student pilot. We managed, and also I did it. So we managed to take off easily. There were a lot of rollovers, crashes.
It is not easy.
It's not easy. It's gonna be easier. It's gonna be easier.
Flight sim that
It's gonna be Airland helicopters.
Airland, okay.
Airland helicopters. And it will be, I would say, a simulation game hidden within a video game. Because what I want to have is, I want to sell more copies so make it simpler. You can fly with the mouse, but then if you go a notch, full realism, full that, you get the badass flight simulator, as you would expect. Only we have to realize we guys are a minority.
Yeah.
And so I think I've the majority of the players, but the minority still have to be taken care of. That's exactly what I'm trying to do.
So what are you looking forward to for next year?
Next year I'll have a booth and I'll be, kicking asses,
You're taking orders, basically.
All right.
Got it. All right. Mr. Froogle, of course, you are no stranger to doing this sort of thing. In fact, we first met 3 years ago in Connecticut at FlightSimGuy. What were your opinions this time, having had a little bit of a break from the whole thing and then coming back into it?
It's grown. I mean, they've certainly got a lot more people. I think they've got a lot more exhibitors here. It's bigger. It's more spaced out. It's somewhat intimidating, to be honest. It's just bigger and busier. I really can't say much more than that. There's more to it. It's becoming a true conference, true expo, rather than just a group of nerds gathering around the table, which is actually what the first FlightSimCon was. It was a group of nerds in a hotel room. It still is. Well, that's Saturday night. We don't talk about that one. So no, it's getting bigger and more professional, and it's quite enjoyable. It's good to see it grow up. Hopefully, it will continue. I mean, next year is back in Vegas, which I didn't go to last year. I'm not a big fan of traveling for these things, but apparently I'm going to Vegas. So we'll see.
So you're going to actually be there for the next year?
I have been told I will be at Vegas.
Okay! You heard it here first. Froogle will be in Vegas.
Froogle will be in Vegas.
You need to be there for that. Now, as far as like my experiences with it, honestly, it's pretty much been more of the same, but I'm really excited to have seen a lot of the feedback from videos like this one that we're doing now from last year spill over into this year. A lot of the things that we asked for, most notably more helicopter presence and so on, all of that came to be, and it was really exciting to run into all these people that are like, hey, thank you for talking about the experience last year, thank you for making sure that they invited XYZ person that we can interact with. And granted, I didn't have a lot to do with that. All I did, I put up the video and I sent Evan the link. But that's the beautiful part about it. The fact that the event organizers are willing to listen to the community themselves and craft this event for the community. Pretty much, I have not been disappointed by anything at all in this event, and I'm looking forward to Vegas next year. And Mr. Sérgio, this is your first time here. What did you think?
My first time here.
Was it worth my nagging you all those concept months?
I'm kidding. Well, you come here with a set expectation, and it just blew my mind. This is so well organized. It's so well organized. They thought about all the there are small details that you worry about when you come, and suddenly they are taken care of for you. One of the things, this may sound weird. You guys know I'm not American. I kind of guess by the accent.
I would have guessed myself.
Yeah, I can kind of guess by the accent. I'm actually from Portuguese, so there are some small details, some small differences between Portugal and the US that you kind of worry about, and some of them are pretty stupid, but they exist. The fact that I sometimes struggle to find water. It's just a thing, and I thought, I better go and try and find some place to find, to get some water, right? And then I get an email from these guys, from the organization, saying that we would have water bowl at the hotel room, for free. And you just, it's just a small detail. I'm not even going to tell you about the size of this thing. It's huge. It's huge. It's big. It has everybody here. I spent the whole day talking yesterday. I didn't shut up. Everybody was asking me stuff, and it was just amazing. But the small details, the little things that that these guys have put into it because they care about the people that are coming to the event. It's just amazing. It's marvelous. I love it. What I want to see next year, me there. That's what I want to see.
That's fair enough.
I have to get some funds to get me my ass there and go to Las Vegas. I want to see more helicopters. I know there are some other companies that were supposed to be here, and they want to go there. I know Fred wants to be there next year. I want to see more. I was actually talking to some guys from the flight school, and they want to be there. A helicopter flight school wants to be there as well. So yeah, this is starting to happen for the helicopter flight simulation community, and that's what I want to see. I want more helicopters. I want more variety inside the helicopter, inside the simulation community. So yeah, that's what I want to help make happen. I love that, guys. You guys, do you know that developer that you don't actually mention, but he goes, I feel like that right now. I'm a happy puppy, guys. I'm a happy puppy.
He's a happy camper.
Yeah, I am.
All right, and Mr. Magnus, this is your first time here as well, too,
My
right?
first time, yeah.
Okay,
I didn't go to any of the cozy ones. I wish I were. I arranged festivals back in my youth days, and the small ones were always the best. But this is great as well. I love it. Yeah, definitely. Well organized, as you all have said. Definitely. But I couldn't afford to stay at the hotel, so I'm at another hotel. So that's one thing I look forward to the next one, is not having to drive for that long. You can't go anywhere here on foot.
Yeah,
The lady at the hotel, I asked her, is there any restaurant here I can go to from foot? Yes, but you'll die.
Welcome to Florida.
You might get here, but you'll die there.
Yeah.
No restaurants there.
If not for everything else, for old age.
I think you probably stand a better chance of running into gators. And just remember, if the gator's chasing you, what do we do?
Zigzag.
Yes. And of course, I definitely cannot forget the man with the camera, my partner in crime, Mr. FlightSimGuy, who every time we do this, he refuses to get on camera, but he's behind the camera, so I'm going to let him talk and explain to me and everyone else his views on this event.
All right, so what Pete said is absolutely right. It's pretty cool watching the conference and the community grow up over the past 4 years. This is my 4th conference, and one thing I've noticed, along with everything else in our society, is when I was in there, all those cool panels. But by the way, this conference is largely hardware. A lot of cool stuff, and I know that stuff is very, very expensive. When we started out and all this stuff, $5 to download Steam, I'm afraid what's happening with the community now is all the cool stuff is going to the folks who have the money.
Right.
If you can't afford it, you can't stay at a hotel like this, you're not going to buy any of those fancy equipment. And I'd say the bigger part of the community are the folks who don't have a lot of money, the kids. And I'm afraid they're going to get left behind. I don't want to see that happen. Now, you're coming up with a standalone helicopter sim package, back in the day before we had FSX and whatnot, the market was littered with standalone simulators. I would like to see that come back around. I'm not sure if it will, but I'd love to see that again, where you have a standalone for a Cessna, standalone for this, standalone for that. That way more people can participate and everyone can take part in this awesome hobby. Because right now, the way I see things going, all the good stuff is going to go to the people who have the money. And it shouldn't be that way.
I'd like to comment on that. That's Honeycomb.
Right.
They're actually doing something that is more complex, better than what we have today for approximately the same price range. It's still
expensive, but it's much cheaper than a lot of the stuff that's in there.
You're not paying $900
Exactly.
for a BelGeode alone.
Exactly.
So you have everything there. So that's a good sign that we might get. But I completely
And the
agree.
beautiful thing too, we've kind of run the gamut as well too. It is starting to appeal to some of the bigger names and whatnot. Like we had Vario here with their $6,000 VR headset. Let me tell you, that thing feels like it's worth $6,000, but there's no way in heck I'm going to be able to, put the money down for something like that to go upgrade my Rift S, So I would like to see the technology move forward now that we have like pretty much of a baseline, get a little bit more affordable. And I know that's the nature of technology anyway. The longer it's out, the more the price drops. But I also want to give a shout out to prop wash simulations. I don't know if you saw some of the avionics that they came up with. A lot of that stuff is really affordable, and I want to see more of those little guys coming into this kind of an event and carving out their niche, because as we all know, this is a very niche field, so there's space for everybody.
Yeah, but there's the thing that I also know is we have very expensive hardware out there, but with the fact that you now can get 3D printers for cheap, you are also getting a lot of stuff that it's not actually that expensive. And I was checking out a small panel for the kit that I have, the ProFlight Trainer Puma, and we're talking about the small panels we use to do VR. So it doesn't have an LCDs or any written stuff. It's just knobs and switches and whatnot. And it's supposed to be positioned near the collective. So when I'm using VR and I want to change frequencies, for example, I just reach out to change the frequency. And that's a 3D printed thing. I'm not sure if I can speak about the price, but it's not that expensive considering what it does. And I'm seeing more and more of that stuff. You do have the high-end things, very expensive things, but you now have guys doing things with 3D printers that, okay, it doesn't look pretty, but it does the job.
But on the other end of the spectrum, we just looked at something.
Russ Barlow's knob.
Right, right, the Knobster.
What kind of a pricing structure does he have? Would you say that's something that the
That's
average
affordable.
seller is going to be able to?
Yeah, and I think probably they're going to, my guess, they haven't said this, what we're talking about is something called Knobster, which was invented by a guy called Russ Barlow. And what Knobster is the coolest thing. It's a single two-stage knob, like on a navigation radio. You had the outer and the inner. It's a single knob. It's about that big. You can put it on your yoke, on your joystick, on your desk. It doesn't require a whole panel. And then there's some software called Air Manager. And Air Manager will basically reproduce all the dials and controls from the cockpit on a second screen or a second computer or on a tablet. And what you do is you just touch the control and then use this knob to change it, this single knob. Now I know he's charging Sim Innovations bought it. So they're charging $95 for the knob, and they're charging €65 for Air Manager. My guess is they're charging, that feels a little bit high to me, and my guess is they're charging that because they're not selling them.
Right.
Which is why I just grabbed a bunch of YouTubers and magazine editors and said, play with Russ Barlow's knob. And they all,
That was the highlight of my day, right there.
they all fell in love with it. And I think hopefully things like that are going to catch on, and I hope they drop their prices because they're breaking even now and everything else. But that's a good point about FlightSimExpo as well. When you walk around here, you'll see a lot of companies and things which don't have a high budget, and don't look really amazing, and they're not Rex or Hi-Fi or Lockheed Martin. You've never heard of these guys. It looks kind of cheesy. Go and talk to them anyway, because some of these little tiny one-man band startups that look kind of odd, when you speak to them, they're the coolest stuff here. So,
I agree. There have been quite a few of these things that we've been to where we've actually run into people that are completely off the grid. They're just here as patrons, and they've got something to show. And especially with what Fred is working on here, that's pretty much how he had approached it. He's here as a patron, but he still has something to show the community that naturally excites those that are really interested in it. So it's just one of those things that I would highly encourage if you get the opportunity to come out to FlightSimExpo next year in Vegas and so on, or even in the future wherever they decide to have it, because it's my understanding it may alternate coasts. I would highly recommend that you do that, and for those of you who have actually done that because of recordings like this, I thank you for coming out and supporting the community and being a part of the community and whatnot. Before we wrap everything up, does anyone have any final words that they wanted to say in regards to FSE?
I think, we just kind of discussed it, but, this issue about, there's sort of a dichotomy of price increasing, but yet we're trying to build up an industry, and we see that theme, I think, a lot in different ways. Cats fly helicopters, is that right? I mean, and Fred's project, there's this underlying drive to try to draw in more people into, this hobby or this industry, and a lot of them are going to be young people, right? And if they don't have a sponsor like a parent who's also into it, then it may be a struggle to get these funds. So you have to resolve that in some way, but you can see the wheels are turning, right? We're coming off of what, like a 10-year lull in flight simulation, and now things are really booming again. But that comes with a price, literally, like a price to be paid. And so how do you get new people into it, to entice them with either ease of use through training programs, through simulation of games within simulations within games that try to make that process easier for people on a technical level. But you need hardware. How do you do this hobby without hardware? It's hard. There are some kind of options with the browser and the mobile, based things, but either way, you're looking at investing in some hardware.
I think we need more gateway drugs as far as that goes, as far as hardware and so on.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of bring
Definitely.
people in. So, you know, that's our hope for next year. We'd like to see more of that kind of stuff going on, and just basically continue doing what's being done, because so far it's been an amazing experience. It's definitely one of the best experiences that I've had, flight sim related, for quite some time. All right, so with that having been said, I wanted to give special thanks to all of my esteemed colleagues that were able to come in. Thank you as always for supporting the flight sim community with the things that you do. And thank you, of course, for being a part of this and sharing your insight. So that'll do it for us here. FlightSimExpo is just about done. So my next task, since I'm here for another couple of days, I've got to edit and upload all of this stuff for you. So you will be seeing this probably a couple of days after. But as always, continue to like, continue to comment, and continue to share so that we can spread the word to the entire world about FlightSimExpo, and we can get even more people here joining us next year. Thank you as always for watching, folks. This has been BelGeode, this has been FlightSimExpo, and I will catch you all really soon. Ciao!